Welcome everybody to my new tutorial series. My name is Greg of Keen Web Consulting, which is just my pretty much over-glorified freelance web design and development profile. It's not really much more than that to start up with. I really just want to put my profile out for everybody to see, and also do some tutorials to show everybody what I can do and what I bring to the table pretty much in every aspect, well, design and coding wise. I really can't get too much into search engine optimization, but who knows, I might throw that into a tutorial series at some point in time. Alright, well, today I would like to do a little introduction, as I've kind of already started to do, introducing myself and telling you what the scope of these tutorials is going to cover. So let's get right into that. We don't want to make this too long, too drawn out. Yeah. So I believe I fixed my video player to record fluently, so that when I do something like this, it doesn't freeze me with a funny face, but it's yet to be seen. I've done it a couple times now, and it just made some pretty interesting faces. We're not going to worry about that right now. Let's get into what tools I use to, oh no, that's a little jump in the gun. The level of these tutorials, that will do first. Okay. So, the level of these tutorials is not beginner. It's not every little piece of HTML, CSS, and PHP coding. It is actually more of a intermediate tutorial series. And what I'm going to end up doing is having a whole bunch of intermediate blocks, to which, if you are actually at that level, you'll be able to piece all these intermediate blocks or objects together into advanced functions, or just advanced coding, to create such things as customer management systems and custom cart systems, and really nice designs with CSS, of course. And I'll probably throw in quite a bit of jQuery, which is pretty much just JavaScript. So we'll do jQuery because it's a shortcut. I like the shortcuts. Every programmer likes shortcuts. That is very true, trust me. As long as it works, as long as it does what it's supposed to do and doesn't do anything malicious. Right, so moving on. Now we'll tell you the tools. The tools are pretty simple. I use Dreamweaver, which is basically a text editor with sort of kind of a display to it. I suggest setting up a local host or local test sort of scenario. I have XAMPP, which lets me test things that have databases and just normal websites through a local host. Let's see, what else do I have? Right, I use Chrome. I like that browser. Firefox is kind of falling behind with a few of their CSS functions not being universal, so I tend to get very annoyed. Although, even though it's a small annoyance, it really is just small minor things here and there. Nothing to really nitpick about, because the general functionality of the site is still there. You might just have to compromise on how you create a design. That's just the compatibility issues that it still currently has. Not really going to worry about showing you those today, but I also preview it in Internet Explorer. As for mobile devices, the headache that is with the functionality I need to be able to provide, it's just not practical right now. So if you need a mobile site. I can give you a mobile site, but in converting a mobile site, you want to keep as much off the page as humanly possible. Anything that's not necessary or not needed, you need to take it off, especially if it's heavy in CSS and input fields. Like, here, I'll point to it. Like one of these, right here. See those? Yeah, these are input fields. Well, they look fine in this browser, and they look fine in a couple other different browsers that I even haven't mentioned. Excuse me. But they don't look good on mobile. These bleed off of the form pretty far, and this button's not even on the form. I tested that in an old mobile browser. I can't tell you if it's catching up on mobile browsers because I kind of have an older mobile browser, so it is what it is. I don't go back in mobile browsers. It's just not what I do. I expect technology to catch up with the current standards. I mean, it's not unreasonable. Beyond that, it's getting a little off topic. What other tools? Do I have any other tools? I don't think I do. Web browsers, XAMPP, Dreamweaver, Photoshop. I know a lot of people use Fireworks, and I may or may not look into Fireworks. It just kind of depends, I suppose, on my mood. But for now, I will continue to use Photoshop for all my images. It's, I suppose, now frowned upon, but hey, my sites are high quality. They do what they're supposed to do, and whatever works for you, works for you. If you want to use WordPress because all you are is a designer and you want to use other people's functions, all I can do is warn you that it's very dangerous. Sorry, I'm playing with things, so if you heard a little noise in the background. Basically, what had happened is I had a friend that had to use WordPress, and it wasn't the use of WordPress that was the issue. It was the add-on. Just kind of like one of those little forms or functions or features on WordPress that you can get that was by a third-party developer. The problem with getting something from a third-party developer is you don't know how it's coded. If you don't know how it's coded, things happen. He lost his site for a good 3.5 months. And that can set you back. So I don't wish that upon anybody. That is a headache and a half. I'm going to say if you're going to use a frameworks, try to stay away or shy away from third-party coders. Some people just have bad intentions, and you're going to run into that. So it's best if you can do it yourself. Find a friend that does know how to develop and ask them to put something through. You know, somebody you can trust or a source you can trust. That's always a plus. So those are all my tools. That was a little story for you. Hopefully it was informative. I'm not trying to shun you away from using different things. If you're going to use WordPress, use it. I use Dreamweaver. Some people use a text editor, Notepad++, and other things of that nature. I use Dreamweaver because it also has a FTP uploader built in. Some people use FileZilla. Whatever you're going to use, just use it. Trust me. If you're used to it, you're better off with it. Before I go yammering on about the same thing 200 different times, let's carry on to what I have written down here. Ah, yes. I wanted to let you know what I was about, better stated as I'm going to give some of my opinion on my field, and yeah, it just didn't look right just being cut off like that at the top up there, so yeah, scroll up. I'm going to give you my opinion of kind of my outlook on the don't really know how to put it. It's my opinion of my field of work. That's probably the best way to put it, because that's what it is. It's an opinion. It's not right or wrong. It's just what I've seen and what I've experienced. So, design versus development. Got into a little bit about that just a second ago, but really, the huge difference between design and development is designers, they're really good with making things look nice. On the other hand, developers, no, trust me, that's a big job. Before I get into developers, that's a big job. All the picture editing, all the CSS, all the backwards compatibility stuff that they have to deal with that clients really want them to deal with, it can be a headache. It can. So don't think that, oh, designing's nothing. That's not what I want you to leave here with, is any sort of impression that even the HTML and CSS are completely 100% easy, breezy, done. No. You'll run into a problem with those just like anything else. Even if you know it, even if you know 10,000 different ways to code the same thing in HTML or CSS, you're still going to run into problems with other browsers and other stuff. It's just stuff that happens. What can you do? So the developers, on the other hand, they can make a site function. Like right now, because I'm a designer and a developer all in one, I've made this function, this form function with a non-JavaScript validation, which means it can't be seen by, it's non-server, it's non-user side. So it's back-end, it's server-side code. You can't just view it and break it like they tend to do with JavaScript. So, like, watch. Type nothing into here and type something into here, blah, blah, blah. And it goes way beyond this. Trust me, there's a series of tests I had to do to get it to function like this, but here we go. See? It says email and phone required. And gets rid of whatever you typed in there. That's just how those forms react. Delete it, hit the same button. It says all the fields are required. And it goes through, you can do any sort of series, one of each, 2 different ones, so on and so forth. You can forget 1, you can forget 2, you can forget 3, and it's all covered. And you have to have a real email and a 10-digit phone number, which is area code and phone number, of course. Let's see. So that's all coded. That's the difference between designers and developers. Designers can make it look nice. Developers make it function. Right. So, before I get too far into that, there was another very important point that I wanted to make, because there's been a lot of talk and discussion about this. Is web design and development becoming more of a team group effort, and are the individual developers becoming obsolete or just phasing out? And really, what I have to say to this is very simple. No. If you know as much as I do, or more, or even a little bit less, you can still develop many websites per day, do updates of many websites per day, just by yourself. Because in the end, you know what you're doing. These tutorial series are for people who partially kind of know what they're doing and want to pursue things further. So, just, you gotta have good motivation, self-motivation. And you gotta have that perseverance to just keep going. There's a lot of small business to medium-sized businesses out there for us individual one-man shows. Sorry, I'm a little choked up here. Not emotionally, of course. Right. It's just, I have allergies, so from time to time you might hear me get a little hoarse. So one-man shows will never have a absence of work. Trust me. As long as you can show people that you have the ability, you have the skill, and you have the determination it takes to get what you want to get them, they will pay you for it, and you will make them something awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. I just hate to see people saying, oh yeah, you gotta have a team, you gotta have a team, you have to have a team. It's like, well, if you're gonna have a team, the least you could do is pay them a livable wage. I hate it, hate it, hate it. When you got all these places out there that are part of huge corporations, and and that's a political discussion on its own end, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm just saying it's an underserved field. Some people with degrees that had to take a whole bunch of non-related courses, when I got the chance to specify, not that I didn't go to college, I did. I went to college, got a lot of the core classes out of the way, but as is the nature of community colleges, they couldn't decide what classes were required and what classes were not going to be required. So they kept switching up the requirements, and then on top of that, I had the issue where a class that was required, they kept dropping because not enough people signed up for it. So I've been through a lot of horrors when it comes to any sort of college. A lot of my stuff has been self-taught. PHP was self-taught. Love PHP, especially when you start out with a language like Visual Basics. It's a very, very picky language, very picky. And PHP was kind of easier to understand. It assumes a lot more, and just makes me like it a whole lot better. It's more forgiving. And if you're a coder, developer, anything, you know what I'm talking about. You're probably going, yes, this is all I'm ever going to use. You could probably get away with using ASP. I hear it's a server-side language too. I haven't really experimented with it much, but I hear it serves pretty much the same purpose. So yeah, one-man show's not going out. Not in a long time. Now, if I ever get into the position to, say I get too many clients, I'm going to just start handing off work to other designers, saying, no, don't give me referral money, don't give me a percentage base. If you feel like giving me a $10-15 for the referral, $50 to $100 for the referral, I don't know. Whatever they find fair, that's fine, but I don't want paid a percentage of your work, because trust me, all I did was handed you the dirty stone and you're going to shine it. So you're going to put all the work into it. I just picked it up. Really. I mean, if I've got enough, why not share? It's just detrimental to try to hoard all these different clienteles from all these other places and act like, well, we're the main company, we can do it faster, better, and all this other junk. That's just blowing smoke. It is. Because they're not Google employees, like it's been said before on a few different things I've watched. And the website doesn't give you a golden ticket. You don't win the internet just because you have a website. It's not going to make your business skyrocket in a second. It may increase your traffic. It may increase your calls that you get. But in the end, it's kind of up to you to get the work. Oh, wow. So, I think I may have gone over a little bit. I'm going to see how this looks. See if I've gone over. If I haven't, then cool. And I hope you've enjoyed this introductory video. I want to get into the tutorials. Very fast. So I hope this gets thrown together very fast, very nicely, because my last attempt at this was horrible. It really was. It stretched out beyond the ranges of my video editing software, cut off the frame. It was disgusting. It was ugly. Yeah. I scrapped it. It's gone. No more bye-byes. Well, anyway, hope you enjoyed. Likes are appreciated. Subscriptions are awesome. And my last word of advice is, don't just look at one source of tutorials. Look at many, because everybody has their niche. I will see you, hopefully, on the first tutorial. See you then. Bye.